It's another day, and that means more PlayStation 4 game deals. I know this is low-key becoming a joke at this point, but Newegg is running another 50% off promo code, and what that means is a lot more great deals, so we'll take a look at that very quickly. Since I know a lot of these deals are repeats, however, if you guys do want to take advantage of them, there are some pretty solid deals available, so we'll look at that. Also, DayZ has been confirmed for the PlayStation 4, and it is arriving later this month. Yes, it'll be out in just a few days, in fact, and one of the most iconic PC titles of all time is finally making its transition to consoles. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we know that Ubisoft is prepping up a major show for E3 2019. We know that a game like Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint is arriving later this year. But outside of that, there are a lot of other announcements that are coming. One of those games that many, as well as myself, are speculating on is Watch Dogs 3. Mario Rabbids 2 is being speculated on. But it looks like one of their new IPs is something that's going to leave people a little bit skeptical, and that is a new IP known as Roller Champions. We don't know much about it, but I'll talk a little bit about that, and it looks like Google Stadia is going to have some major revelations as price, games, and other launch information are to be divulged this summer. That was revealed over at the Google Stadia official Twitter account. First up, let's go over the Newegg promo code. Once again, a 50% off promo code offering a couple of good deals. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 could be had for $22.50. That's pretty good. I quite enjoyed Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I know for a lot of people, if you like Call of Duty, you probably already picked it up. But if you want to jump back into COD, if you want a solid co-op experience with the zombies that's available, the multiplayer is still pretty good. I was not a big fan of Black Ops, but just bear in mind that personally speaking, I'm just not big into Battle Royale in general. So that just might not be my cup of tea, but overall, I did enjoy the game for what it offered. Unfortunately, no single-player campaign in that one. They wanted to primarily focus on multiplayer, so that was a bit of a bummer for me, but $22 and change for that isn't bad. Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Strikers, on the other hand, is down to $15. That's still a relatively recent release. I believe it released back in October or November. To get it for $15 is quite good. It's not the best Naruto game in the world. I definitely prefer the Storm games over Shinobi Strikers. However, it's still a pretty cool game. You've got obviously more open level design, so it's completely different in terms of gameplay style to the Storm titles. If you're a fan of Naruto, you'll dig the game. If you're not, however, then obviously stay away. Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition is down to $15. That's really good after the promo code. I think that's an awesome buy. Obviously, I was a bit disappointed by Final Fantasy 15's narrative, but if you actually look at it from a content standpoint and what you get out of the Royal Edition with all of the extra content, the Royal expansion, the Comrades multiplayer, and after all of the updates they've made to the game, it is quite good. This isn't all the content, however. Obviously, episode Arden did drop as well. A lot of other episodes were in the works. Unfortunately, that all got canceled, so now the Final Fantasy 15 experience has concluded. Now, I would say that overall, while a little bit of a disappointment from a gameplay standpoint and a world design standpoint, it was fairly good. Jump Force, on the other hand, is down to $30. I know this game got a lot of flack. However, if you are the kind of guy where you're a fan of all of these IP and you want a fighting game that's more flash than substance and does a lot of these IPs justice, then maybe it's worth a shot. It's a game that you can play and have some fun with. Just don't expect a super compelling story or a super compelling single player. You're not going to find that here. However, I was a little bit higher on Jump Force than some people. Now, I'm not going to say that it's a great game or even a good game. It's mediocre at best. But being a fan of all of the various IPs that are represented, I was able to have some fun with it. And if you've been on the fence at $30, I don't think it's awful. Obviously, at that full $60 price point, it wasn't worth it at all, and the fact that it can already be had for $30 says a lot, given that Bandai Namco titles typically hold up in price for a long time. Ace Combat 7 only recently dropped to that $40 range, and that released ahead of Jump Force. Jump Force being down to $30 kind of says a lot about it and how it's doing, but nonetheless, I did want to give that a mention. Dead or Alive 6, probably the higher quality fighting game, is down to $30. That game does have an obscene amount of DLC, but nonetheless wanted to give that a mention. Battlefield 5 down to $20 flat. That's pretty good. Starlink Battle for Atlas is down to $30. For Honor Marching Fire Edition is down to $20, and that's really the highlights of the sale. It's a pretty good sale. Your typical Newegg 50% off sale. I wish they would add a little more depth to this. I do also see Overwatch Game of the Year Edition for $15, so that's definitely pretty good. But again, would like to see a little bit more depth in these Newegg sales since it's a lot of crossover with a lot of titles. I'm guessing a lot of titles that are bloated on copies with, but nonetheless, pretty good deals all around. Alright, moving on from that, DayZ is coming to the PlayStation 4 on May 29th. Now, if you guys don't know about DayZ, this is one of the most iconic PC experiences of all time. Originally started out as a mod for the game Arma 2. It took the PC gaming world by storm. Unfortunately, DayZ standalone became a game, and while it was very exciting at first, it just stayed in early access for way too long, and even the game at this point isn't very good in its final release. I mean, there's things to like about it for sure, but I feel like if you don't have that nostalgia and that inherent attachment to DayZ, you're probably going into it just as a new experience. You probably won't enjoy it all too much. The game tells the post-Soviet country of Chernaris is struck by an unknown virus, turning the majority of population into frenzied infected. Fighting over resources has bred a hostile mentality among survivors, driving what's left of humanity to collapse. You are one of the few immune to the virus. How far will you go to survive? DayZ is an unforgiving, authentic, open-world sandbox online game where each one of 60 players on a server follows a single goal: to survive as long as they can by all means necessary. There are no superficial tips, waypoints, built-in tutorials, or help given to you. Every decision matters with no save games and no extra lives. Every mistake can be lethal. If you fail, you lose everything and start over. The game was incredibly exhilarating back in the day. It really kept you on your toes, and if you had a couple friends to play with, it was such an engaging experience. At this point, I don't know how it's gonna do on PlayStation 4. Let's hope that the game at least drops and it releases at a working state, because DayZ, the issue with this game was from a performance standpoint for so long. The frame rate was atrocious, and technically the game left a lot to be desired, but now as a full release on the PS4, hopefully we can get a consistent frame rate. Hopefully there aren't too many technical hiccups. And while part of me is excited based on the nostalgia that I have with this game, I'm also incredibly skeptical, and I'm skeptical on the fact that is this game still gonna hold up now in 2019 versus all the way back in what, 2013? A lot of uncertainty, but DayZ will be hitting the PlayStation 4 on May 29th. Alright, moving on from that, Ubisoft is prepping up to have a big E3 press conference, and one of their new IPs that's being teased now is Roller Champions. This was pointed out by Twitter user Sabi, who has leaked Atlas and Nintendo news in the past, and has shared a new logo for a game which the user claims to be from Ubisoft. According to the user, this is a new IP that Ubisoft will be revealing at their E3 2019 press conference, and it'll involve skating and a sports ball, so it seems to be related to a sports title. Probably not the new IP everyone wanted to see from Ubisoft, or just generally the new game everyone wanted to see from Ubisoft. Ubisoft did note that they have 3 AAA titles to be released before the end of fiscal year 2020. Is Roller Champions one of those games? I would be a little bit disappointed if that's the case, but nonetheless, you never know with games like this. You see games like Rocket League take the gaming world by storm. Am I saying Roller Champions is going to be something like that? I don't know, but it's still something to be mindful of. If they can create a fundamentally interesting concept and make it incredibly engaging, then who knows? Roller Champions could be a game that ends up surprising a lot of people. We'll stay tuned. And lastly, Google Stadia is going to be revealing some major information very soon. The official Twitter account put out, quote, "This summer, 3 of the wishes you've been asking for will finally be granted. Price reveal, game announcements, and launch info. Stay tuned here for more Stadia details coming soon." Google Stadia, of course, is Google's proprietary streaming service. They're getting into the gaming industry, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds, because everybody is trying to get into the streaming business. Whether it be Sony with PlayStation Now, whether it be Microsoft with what they're doing, Stadia is, of course, in the game as well. It seems like the only ones not into the streaming game is Nintendo right now, and I'm sure they'll get into it eventually. But this seems to be the path forward, and everybody's trying to get into it. I'm sure that every one of these businesses and companies want to create that residual revenue model where they can get you to sign up for $15 a month, $20 a month, whatever the case may be. They'll offer you all of these games to stream. They'll cut out that middleman, and they could just collect all of the revenue that way. I'm sure they've realized that with services like Microsoft's Xbox Live Gold, PlayStation Plus, they're making a ton of revenue off that, and if they could create exponentially greater revenue streamlined like that, that's something they definitely want to do. I'm still incredibly skeptical on it. I don't know if the entire gaming landscape is ready for streaming. Obviously, this is something that's going to be eased in, and next generation isn't going to be all streaming. We know that the PlayStation 5 is going to support physical media, it's going to support digital media, and it's going to support streaming. But in terms of Google Stadia, it is a streaming service at its core. But if you're telling me it's a service that's, $15, $20 a month and I get access to all of these new games instead of dropping $60 a pop, yeah, that will be incredibly enticing, and we should find exact information relatively soon. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Newegg once again has another 50% off promo sale running right now. DayZ is hitting the PlayStation 4 on May 29th. The new Ubisoft IP and Roller Champions looks to be coming, and Google Stadia is going to be revealing some major information this summer. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.